गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम बैक टू पैसा बोलता है। पैसा बोलता है में फिर से स्वागत करता हूं आपका। Today I have my brother Vinod Srinivasan with me, and I recently read an article on the Ken. The Ken is a subscription only newsletter, and I recommend you read it because it keeps you in touch with what's happening in India and Southeast Asia. It's very interesting, and it covers the subjects which mainstream newspapers do not cover because this is from Singapore. So it recently talks about how all these big AMCs have got rid of their star managers. The first star manager to leave was about 2 years back, I think, Prashant Jain of HDFC, who definitely left. Then there was a big scam in Axis Bank.
Mutual fund.
All the mutual fund
Jignesh.
guys have been fired. Now Jinesh Gopani,
Yes.
who is considered their star fund manager, has also quit.
Correct.
Franklin Templeton,
Yes.
its debt fund got into serious trouble 2 years back.
Santosh Kamath.
So everybody received their money fully, and Santosh Kamath has now resigned and moved on.
Correct.
Before that, there was a man called Ken Andre who was running the IDFC Mutual Fund,
Yes.
who left and started Westbridge Capital.
Correct.
Then there was Samir Arora, who was the fund manager in Alliance, who also quit and left. And all these active fund managers have left. And this is what this article says, is they are not able to compete with passive funds.
Yes.
You have to understand, a passive fund operates at a very low cost of say about 10 paisa to 25 paisa per 100 rupees.
Correct.
And is only mimics the index.
Yes.
And does nothing else.
No.
And copies the index.
Yes.
And therefore is able to deliver returns.
Outperform
most managers. This was discovered by a man called Jack Bogle,
Yes.
who started Vanguard.
Yes.
And over a period of time, Vanguard has become a giant fund. And it started as a mutual benefit company. So active funds are extremely difficult and to beat the index,
Yes,
especially when you have a large AUM.
Yes, the statistic over here says in 2022, 88% of actively managed large cap funds failed to outperform their benchmarks. Over half the active mid and small cap funds have also underperformed.
See, if this is 1 year,
Correct.
but if you are going to be invested over 20 years, so you do not know whether one fund will beat 1 year, next year it will be a laggard, and so on.
Correct.
What is the reason? The reason is you have active fund charges 1.5% commission.
They say you can get funds as low as 0.07.
No, I'm saying 10 paisa to be
Yes,
safe.
correct.
This is 1 rupee 50 paisa.
Yes.
Suppose an active fund and passive fund managed, and you have put 100 rupees. The fund manager beats the index and makes 3 rupees and he is 103 rupees. A passive fund underperforms and sits at 102 rupees.
Correct.
Now what will happen is, when the second year starts, the active fund will have 101 rupee and 50 paisa, because 1 rupee 50 paisa will go out as expense ratio.
Correct.
Then what will happen is, a passive fund will have 101 rupees and 90 paisa.
Correct.
Because it has taken only 10 paisa.
Paisa. Yes.
So even if you beat him by a 1/3 margin,
It compound.
the compounding effect of a larger capital base over long term will make an active fund irrelevant. That is the problem. And in order to perform better and better, you will be making more mistakes.
Correct.
And there is you have to compare not with the Sensex or the Nifty, you have to compare with what is known as the total returns index, which also takes into account how much dividend is paid. There are some active funds which I support, which also have a position abroad. A passive fund will not allow you to invest abroad. So you need to have an active fund which gives you the option to buy Apple, Google and those kind of things. So you have to look at that. So other than that, there are very few funds which can beat the passive funds.
Yes.
At best, you can buy a large cap fund because there are 100 large cap funds. Nifty Junior is there.
Yes.
Nifty will be only tracking the top 50.
Yes.
So you need a mix and match. So you can pick the odd number.
Correct.
And what is very shocking is, this year mid caps and small caps have outperformed the index by a huge margin.
Correct.
In spite of that, more than 50% of the mid cap and small cap funds have underperformed the index.
Yes, passive funds have grown by 8.5 times in the last 5 years, reaching almost $84 billion as of March, outpacing active funds.
So this is why star fund managers are finding
Yes.
it very difficult. and more money is going into
To
passive funds.
Yes.
And so this what happens is this makes the market lopsided also, in the sense that the top 50 stocks will gain all the money. Most of the money is going into the top 50 stocks, which will make the index stocks very difficult to buy unless you have already bought them, or you have to look at pockets of undervaluation in the index using, of course, Fisher's methods.
Correct.
But in the flip side, what I think is that it gives you an opportunity, if you're a good stock picker, to buy high quality mid cap stocks and large cap stocks at decent valuations over a period of time after a correction happens.
Correct.
If you are a serious investor. And this is not something new. This has been around for nearly 15 years.
Yes.
And I've been saying this ad nauseum for 15 years. This is after Buffett did
Famously.
long bets. It's described in Long Bets 3001. He famously challenged anybody for $1 million, saying that over 10 years, a passive fund will beat any active funds. For some time, nobody wanted to take up the challenge. Then a hedge fund manager decided to take up the challenge for $1 million. And what they decided is, Buffett chose the Vanguard S&P 500, and they chose a group of managed hedge funds. In the first 2 years, as I gave you in the example, Buffett underperformed in the first year. After that, the market just went one way. And by 2016, 2 years before the actual expiry of the bet, the other group threw in the towel.
Right.
And the money went to Buffett's charity.
Correct.
So what Buffett has said that, and what Munger says, when you are playing with small amounts of money, you can do 30-40% return. A small amount of money, according to me, is 100 million US dollars. But if you are managing large sums of money, as most fund managers do in India today, it's impossible to beat the index.
And there's another problem also. Most of these fund houses are also moving away from star-centric approach, because the guy has a star fund manager and the investors come for him. That guy can move, the talent can move, and that leads to problems for the fund houses.
So that is a minor problem. They'll fall at his feet and keep him. But the issue is this: the star fund manager cannot beat the.
Yes. Only high net worth individual seems to be interested in star fund managers nowadays, because
So they have
gamble.
gone out and stretched sharp as portfolio managers.
Correct.
But even in portfolio management, the same problem will come, because they charge a 2 plus a hurdle rate fee.
True.
That is, they charge a 2% management fee and say that if I cross 10%, you have to give me 20% of the fee. So when you look at that, even the passive fund will beat that also.
And also, this everyone now having access to the internet on their phone and able to download the app and install. It's made all this.
That time it is throughout history, from Isaac Newton days. Newton famously lost money in the South Sea bubble.
Correct.
And said, I can predict the motions of planets, but I cannot talk about the stock markets.
Correct.
So this is a new fad. The history will repeat itself.
Yes.
There is a lot of froth. A lot of retail money is going to be lost.
In the article, it's mentioning that. It's saying that short-term, long-term investing seems to be out of fashion. Now everyone is in short-term speculation.
Yeah. So it is very difficult, and SEBI has made it extremely difficult for anybody to make money.
Correct. Anyway, I hope you found this article which we spoke about interesting and informative as always.
थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग पैसा बोलता है। आपने इस पॉडकास्ट में उपस्थित हुए, इसके लिए मैं आपका आभारी हूँ। अगर आप इस वीडियो को पसंद करते हैं तो आप अपना इस वीडियो का लाइक बटन दबाएं, इस वीडियो में अपना कमेंट लिखें और अपने दोस्तों और रिश्तेदारों के साथ शेयर करें। इस चैनल को काइंडली सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल नोटिफिकेशन भी दबाएं। धन्यवाद, नमस्कार, जय हिंद।